This diplomat is winning hearts faster than Bollywood romances. The one and only Kobbi Shoshani. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm sitting in your presence because I've only seen him online, on Twitter, on Instagram, and in news channels. But this is the first time I'm actually meeting him in person. How are you feeling?
Pleasure to meet you, Vital. I'm very, very happy. First of all, to be in Tel Aviv right now. One of the cities that I like very much, like Jerusalem. But very happy to meet you first time.
I know.
I met your parents 2 years ago in New Delhi.
I know.
And I'm very happy to meet you. I'm very happy and eager to hear the questions.
So wait, just for the audience to know, because I'm sure people watching this know you, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Who are you, Kobbi?
Oh, it's a very, very tricky question. I'm Israeli that was born in Jerusalem a long time ago. And I remember that, in Jerusalem during the winter time, it was quite cold. And my parents didn't allow me to go to sleep or to watch television after 8 o'clock. My mother told me, if you want not to sleep, it's okay, you have to read.
Right.
And I read a lot of books about India. Since there, I remember even the Taj Mahal and Munnar, the Golden Temple, and of course what's happened in Indira Gandhi's time. And then I knew a lot about India, and I didn't expect that one day I would be the representative of the State of Israel in the Western India. I was sent to India several times in the past. The first time was in 1992, right after the full diplomatic relations between India and Israel. I was a young diplomat. I'm still a young diplomat, but at that time I was very young diplomat. I was sent for 6 months to New Delhi, and we started to establish the embassy there. It was a very, very difficult time for Israel. It was right after the establishment of the full diplomatic relations, but after a few days I fell in love with India, with the food, with the culture, with the people. I didn't even expect that one day I would be back again, and I was sent to Bombay at that time. After 26/11. The ministry sent me there for a month after the events, terrible events. I remember the city like it was today, Nariman House and all these places. And afterwards I came several times to India.
Right.
Until I came here permanently. Then in part of my life, I feel very, very Indian, this way or another.
We were talking offline. I've never met him. This is the first time I've met him, but I can see his soul like ingrained in the roots of India, and I really have to appreciate you bridging the gap between India and Israel. So thank you for that.
Thank you for the compliment.
I have a few fun questions for you.
Please.
All right. So let's start with rapid fire. Tel Aviv or Mumbai, which is more chaotic?
Mumbai.
Right answer. One word to describe India-Israel relation.
Oh, it's a warm of the people.
Okay. Most challenging aspect of your job?
Challenging to remember Indian names.
Can you give us one name that's very long and difficult?
Chantasakaran.
Good one. Favorite spot in Mumbai?
Two. First of all, South Bombay is an amazing place. I fell in love with South Bombay. But there is a point between Bandra and Mumbai, in Wally. Near to the bridge. It's impossible to go into this area, but because I'm escorted by police, it's very easy for me to go. That's during the dawn. It's one of the most amazing, and I feel like I'm in New York.
Oh, sweet. Hopefully I can visit when I visit Mumbai next time. So stay tuned for that.
I'll take you there.
Yay.
Really amazing, really amazing.
I trust you.
Ceiling.
Ceiling, the Wally ceiling.
Yes, but from a different angle towards Wally and toward the bridge and south. And it's really during the evening time, it's one of the most beautiful places.
All right. One thing you wish more Indians knew about Israel?
What do you mean?
Like in a way that probably they stereotype us, but this is something that you would want Indians to know about Israel.
That we are almost the same brother or sister. This doesn't matter for me. We have the same history, the same culture, values of family. We have the same politics. We have the same challenges. We have surrounded by enemies, and we know how to fight against terrorism. And what is the most important, in my point of view, the young generation. The Indian and the Israeli young generation, in my point of view, they are the best in the world.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Fair enough. Your favorite Bollywood star?
Oh, it's very difficult. I don't want, because most of them I know them personally.
I know, they're all your friends.
Yeah, definitely the most beautiful one is Alia Bhatt.
Ooh!
That's very common. But I like very much Vidya Balan, very much. I think she's a fantastic actress.
She is.
I know a lot of course, Shah Rukh Khan and people that I know personally. I think that I like them very much. Anupam Kher, in my point of view, as a character, and he's a friend as well. But he knows how to play in such a way that I love him very much.
He's an experienced, he's a theater actor, and we all love him from all generations. Doesn't matter, you're like a baby boomer or Gen Z, everybody loves him.
Everybody loves him, and there is a reason for that, I think.
All right. And if you were to take a cricket star or a movie star for a lunch date, who would you pick? Just one, you can just pick one.
By far, Amitabh Bachchan. Amitabh Bachchan, and I met him, and I know him personally. I know his daughter as well, Shweta. I think that he's a legendary. I remember him as a child because in every Friday afternoon in Israel, when I was a child, my mother watched two films. One was the Indian film and one was the Egyptian film.
Okay.
And I remember the face of Amitabh Bachchan, riding a scooter. And when I met him, I told him about this story, and he was fascinating. I think that my mother fell in love with him like that, but this was another.
So that's very cool.
He's an amazing person, really. He's the face of India.
I hope he's watching this video.
He will.
All right. How do you see the role of the Indian Jewish diaspora in Israel strengthening bilateral ties?
Definitely, I think that India today is one of the most closest friend of Israel around the world.
Right.
And it's by far. And you can smell it, you can feel it in the street, you can feel it, you can hear it in the news. The war brings a lot of challenges, definitely. And I think that the Indian diaspora here in Israel brought India, and they become ambassador of India and in Israel, and they can bring also Israel into India, and it's extremely important to strengthen the relations. I always mention that in India, unlike communities in Europe, the Indian diaspora, the Indian Jews, never suffer from any persecution or fear. Synagogues the synagogues in Thane, in Mumbai, in other places, in Alibag, in Pune, they stood and acted without fear and fire, not like in Europe.
Right.
And for that I have to say that thank you very much to the Indian governments and to the Indian people. Not from in the last 30 years, for thousands of years. You're from the Bnei Israel community, and the Bnei Israel community, as far as I know, more than 2,000 years, they are living in, and they started in Alibag,
Right.
The story with the ship that actually sank in front of the coast. This is something that the Indian people, and they love them very much. I tell you, because I was surprised.
Right.
The Indian people love very much the Indian. There is a lot of respect. They study along with them in the schools. We mentioned several schools before.
Yes.
And I think it makes the connection much stronger. But the most famous Jewish person is General Jacob. And everybody admire him. And when I mention General Jacobs, especially with the connections to Pakistan and the war in 1971, that was really make the bond between the Jewish people.
The Jewish people.
And the Indian people.
How hopeful are you for the future, for the two countries and the relationship?
I think I asked this question when I came to India to one of my colleagues, and she told me, listen, the sky is the limit.
Right.
I saw the progress, and I mentioned before that I came here in 1992.
Right.
It was after the Congress Party government. It was a lot of suspicious between the two nations. But when I was there in India, I felt the warmth and the love of the common people. And of course, since Modi came into power in 2014, there is a lot of appreciation and respect, because I call it, in a very mathematical formula, that I plus I is bigger than 2I, or 2 I's in this case. Because I think that what we can do together can change not only India and Israel, can change the world because of the young generation, because of the fantastic industry that you have in India and the innovation that we have here. This is a combination. We are not competitors. We are
collaborators, partners.
We are partners. We are collaborators. We can make a lot of things together.
For sure. I'm actually, when I started this channel, I'm giving you a little bit of context why also this became my passion. Everybody told me there's no audience for this. Jews in India is a niche number, nobody's going to watch it. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I believe in the collaboration of these two countries, and with the escalation in challenges, I feel like now is the time to talk about it and to build a bridge. Of course, foundation takes most time, and I feel like we are now building a foundation, and hopefully the generations to come are going to have easier times to I
have so many stories, small stories that make the cooperation between Israelis and Indians. And I'm talking about biotech, and I'm talking about antibacterial materials, and the military.
Agriculture.
And agriculture. There is so many relevant stories that we can build together, and people appreciate it.
Bezrat Hashem.
Bezrat Hashem.
As someone who has served in various diplomatic posts around the world, how does your approach in India differ from previous assignments?
I have to say that most of my posts were in the Western world, you know, in Japan, in Sweden, in Brussels. I was in Thailand, but there is a virus in India that when you catch, by this virus, you cannot leave it.
Yeah, you're Desi now.
Yeah.
By default.
By default, no. You know, because of my family name is Shoshani, everybody thinks that I'm Cindy. I'm not Cindy.
No, oh my gosh, now that you say.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But most of the people also make a mistake and call me Kobbi, and I'm not Kobbi. Then I have a mixture of, both.
Gosh, that's so funny.
I feel in my heart very Indian, I have to say. I very appreciate India.
Yeah.
I see the progress that India passed in the last 30-something years that I first time came here to India. And I think that I don't think about myself in my service as the foreign service without being in India.
I understand.
When I'm going to leave India, part of my heart going to stay there.
I know. Wait, so how much time are you still serving for?
I'm already 3 years, and next summer I have to go back, unfortunately, and I'm very, very sad about the thought that I'm going to leave India and Mumbai, which I like very much. I know that there is a competition between
Mumbai and Delhi.
Mumbai, Delhi, like Jerusalem and Tel Aviv.
Exactly.
But don't ask me what is my favorite, but if you ask, I will answer to you, definitely the city of dreams, by far.
Right answer.
Yeah, I like Mumbai.
But coming to public diplomacy, I know like a lot of your work is to do with media and social media. I know how much you enjoy also, because there's some people, they're like, like it's my job, but I don't like it. But you like it's in your veins, it's in your blood. How do you think we can use social media to kind of like drive the collaboration and diplomacy and PR for both countries?
First of all, we have to understand that in India, social media is extremely important. You can see the numbers of followers on all the celebs and everything. And when I came there, I said, how come there is 1.4 billion people? How can I collaborate with everybody?
Right.
And it was a lot of experience that I try. Sometimes I failed, sometimes I succeeded. But I think that this is, in my point of view, a connection to the people. Connection, I was in Marathwada. I was walking along, I'm going with a policeman and everybody, and people came to me.
Right.
Someone came to me and said, can I ask you something, Consul General? I said, how do you know who I am? He said, listen, I'm following you. I said, why? Why are you following me? He said, because every day you bring something new, which connect me to the news, connect me to the films. It seems that you love India. I told him in a very open way. When it's from your veins, and you call it from the veins, it's very easy. People see that you love the place. People see that you love the culture and the customs and the tradition. You like the politics. You like Bollywood. You can argue about them. It's very interesting, and I like it very much. And it's part of my hobby as well. And I do, by the way, everything by myself. I make the editing by myself, the video editing, the illustrator are using illustrator. Yes, I'm a diplomat. I have a technical.
No, because that's commendable, because a lot of like diplomats, I feel like they don't have the time or don't have the passion to do it. But you like post your own post and comment and like engage. It's all you, right?
Everything, 100%.
So that's commendable. Let's talk about one of your very important projects that you've launched or been working on very hard. It's called the Jewish Route. Tell me more about it, because I want to go on a Jewish route when I visit India.
You have to. First of all, I think it's extremely important. I'm proud of it. I mean, we do it at the consulate, and it's really a very massive and important project. The idea, the first day that I came to Mumbai, I visited the Sassoon Library. I didn't know who's Sassoon before, and I visited the place. It was a little bit terrible, I have to say, the condition. The roof, and there is a water leaking from the ceiling, and everything looks very, very old. And I understand that there is a plan to renovate the place. And I participate along with Sangeeta Jindal from the Jindal's family, that she actually renovated also the David Sassoon Knesset Eliyahu in Kalagoda. And we took part of it. And then the idea came after one of the incident in one of the cemetery. By the way, also one of the collaboration between India and Israel, that the Indian people gave to the Jewish people to bury the dead. It was a cemetery. Normally, there is no cemetery in India, just Christian and Jewish and maybe Muslims.
Right.
And it was very, very important. And people worried that part of the institutions, I'm talking about schools, about libraries, I'm talking about definitely a cemetery and synagogues, going to be sold to real estate. And they were very, very worried. And that's what we should do. And the idea is to build up a Jewish route based on a very important book in my point of view called Bombay Mumbai by Professor Shaul Sapir. He's Baghdadi Jew that was born in Bombay at that time. And we choose the relevant sites, and along with the Maharashtra Tourist Authority, we signed an agreement, and every place there is a plaque, our plaque, along with the Maharashtra Tourist Authority and the government of Israel, with a barcode, and you can go and pass from place to place, learn about the place, and the idea is to preserve this place from being sold to as a property. That was my part, to keep the heritage of the Jewish heritage of Mumbai. It doesn't matter if it's Bnei Israeli or
Baghdadi
or Kuchini. But one of the sites is Nerman House. Chabad House in Kolaba is part of the Jewish root. But of course, Asun Library and the Knesset Eliyahu and the Blue Synagogue and Tiferet Israel. And every month we inaugurate. The recent event we made along with the German consulate, we renovated one of the cemetery, the Baghdadi cemetery, that surprisingly it was a European Jews that were buried there.
I see.
I don't know how they came to India, what was the story behind them, but we make a very big event renovating this place, and it's I'm very, very proud of this project, I have to say.
I'm really excited to go and visit. What if other people or locals want to go and visit? Like, how do they get in touch with somebody who can help them with this?
First of all, we have a site which is a very, very simple site. It's a Jewish root.
We'll add it to the description.
.in India, and I think that we are going to of course, to expand it. Also to West Bengal, to Kolkata, and maybe also to Kochi as well, Cochin.
Sweet.
Because it was some Jewish. I'm very, very proud of that. I think this is my part, but I need the Jewish community in Israel all the time to put eye on these sites. Because this is part of your heritage, it's part of your culture, it's part of your history. And I think that the connection that I have because of that with the Jewish diaspora, it doesn't matter if they're in Israel or in the United States or Canada, they are very, very much involved because they understand that their grandfather and grandmothers buried in these cemeteries, they were praying in the same synagogues, they were go to the school, they belong to the Jewish community. And if you will not keep them as part of the heritage, they will disappear.
They'll disappear, for sure. Their roots lie in India. I was actually speaking to somebody, I'll just quickly talk about it, just like a lot of the third and the fourth generation Indian community don't even know how to speak the Indian languages. Because of course, like the grandparents or like their great-grandparents made Aliyah and they became so Israeli that they can't speak the languages.
It's very natural, I have to say.
It's natural.
But I have to tell you that there is a big community here in Israel that speak Marathi.
I'm not saying all of them.
Not all of them. They speak Marathi. They keep the tradition of Malida and all these traditions. The wedding is a very Indian tradition.
For sure. Henna ceremony, the haldi ceremony, we have the Malida and like.
Beautiful.
For
really
sure,
beautiful.
For sure. Tell us about more projects that you've run in India.
We made a lot of, in the 30 years of the full diplomatic relations, we paint buses with the Indian and Israeli paintings, and it was beautiful. The buses were along, and also trains along the city of Mumbai. But there is a project that I like very much because it showed the strength of the two industries. We actually gave him a machine that actually treat breast cancer. The idea I don't know if you know the hospital called Tata Memorial. The idea is to freeze cancer cells, tissues in the breast. In the early stages, the rate of success is more than 90%.
So the fact that I know you mentioned that the other hospital wanted it, but you couldn't because you had a limited budget. But the fact that you started the donation is a big deal. India has the #1 population, and with population comes prosperity, development, and challenges. So Rome wasn't built in one day. So the fact that you started it is a big deal. That's a big milestone. So thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Avita, it was a pleasure to speak to you and to meet you eventually.
Thank you.
I'm following you all the time.
Thank you.
I'm so happy.
Thank
and
you.
Shalom. And
Shalom.
Next
Shalom,
time you
namaste.
speak fluent Hebrew, I have to say.
I will try my best. And hopefully I get to meet you in Mumbai.
In the Jewish route.
On the Jewish route, along with you. Thank you.